You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
Here he goes. Hold it down! How about a poster? Anthony Davis is on fire!
You're listening to the Pelicans post-game report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're now listening to the Pelican post-game report on the PRO Media Network. I'm Big Q. Thank you guys for stopping by and listening to the Pelican post-game report today. Episode 243 on the Pelican post-game report. That's right, episode 243. And in this episode, we'll be recapping the Pelicans' last couple of games. We got a couple games we're going to cover today. We're going to recap the Pelicans' fourth game of the preseason against the Miami Heat, 140 to 128. And then after the second segment, we'll get into the Raptors game in which they lost that game as well. But without further ado, I'd like to give you a shout out for listening to the Pelican post-game report today. Thank you for stopping by and checking us out today. Episode 243. Pelicans, man, what can I tell you? It's a team, man, that they're going through their bumps and bruises, and this one is quite evident. Before we get into that, let me give you the rundown on today's show. Like I said, the first segment will cover the Pelicans 140 to 128 loss to the Miami Heat. We'll break that down on this side of it. And then we'll also talk about the Pelicans, recap the Pelicans' loss 134 to 119 to the Toronto Raptors. We'll also have Pelican news and notes. We'll talk about the guys that they released. We'll break that down, give you our thoughts on that. And of course, toward the back end, we'll run down the Pelicans' 2018 squad as they prepare to open up against the Houston Rockets on the 17th of this month. So it's going to be interesting for the Pelicans. Do they have what it takes this year to compete and take it to another level? I'll give you my thoughts during the third segment. We also have interviews from Al Gentry. He'll chime in and give you his thoughts on some of these games here, his post-game thoughts on both of the games, the Heat and the Raptors games. It's real interesting. And I was asked by a friend of mine, do I have any concerns about the Pelicans, the fact that they went the entire preseason without getting a win? They went 0-5 in the preseason. Should I be concerned about that if you're a Pelican follower? Anytime you see in the preseason, of course, people always tell you preseason don't count. If that was the case, then they wouldn't play preseason. Preseason counts in so many ways toward the regular season because you're trying to find the right mix as you play your new addition players with the old guys and meshing them together so they have a familiarity with the system in live game play. Not to mention you're trying to fill the back ends of your bench and find roles for the players that you had last year and how some of these players could have actually improved. And then you have some of the new guys, the two-way players, trying to make a stick on this team. So it's really important. 0-5, no wins. I would have liked to have seen them win at least one or two of these games. But 0-5, man, a couple of these games they could have won if they'd have kept the starting squad. But of course, that's not what it's about. But let's get into the first one right here, the Miami Heat debacle. They went down 140 to 128 by 12 in this one. And field goal percentage, the Pelicans were actually pretty good in this one. They shot 56% in this game, while Miami had 47%. The Pelicans shot 48.5% from the three-point line. Miami was 33%. Problem with the Pelicans. Remember from the previous shows, if you listened to the previous shows, I always talked about the pace of play for the Pelicans. One of the fastest teams in the NBA. Funny part about the Pelicans is the fact that they turned the ball over 24 times in this game. You're not going to beat anybody turning the ball 24 times. I told you that I think the threshold for the Pelicans and their pace of play should be right around 15 or 16 turnovers a game. Anything below that, anything over that, you're hurting yourself. They also were out-rebounded in this game, which is a steady trend for most of these preseason games. They get beat in the paint by these teams. And Miami just was showing you that the Pelicans need to improve that as well moving ahead. You can't lose the rebound battle, points in the paint battle, then get ran out of the gym when it comes down to the defensive play and turn the ball over lackadaisically and think you're going to beat NBA teams. It don't work like that. You have some teams you'll probably beat, but a lot of these teams that you won't beat playing that style of play. Pelicans, like I said, they didn't have the rebounds. They only 35 total rebounds versus 45 by the Heat. Interesting stat, offensive rebounds. The Heat has 16 offensive rebounds versus the Pelicans 4. You're not going to get anything done that way. The Pelicans did have more assists than the Heat, 26-23. But you neutralize that advantage when you turn the ball over. 17 steals by the Miami Heat in this game. That's ridiculous. 24 turnovers for the Pelicans, which points off turnovers, give it up 39 of those points. So they had 24 turnovers and then gave the other team 39 points. The Heat had 14 turnovers, only got 16 points off from the Pelicans. Points in the paint, Pelicans beat 60-48, like I said. And it's one of those things where you just have to ask yourself, where's the defensive edge in this game? But before we get more into it, let's see what Coach Al Gentry had to say about his team's performance against the Miami Heat in this one. Here's Gentry.
I thought this was the first game or the first practices where we didn't really compete. I thought they just they outcompeted us, number one, and then number two, once again, careless with the basketball is something that is a big concern of mine. Really, 24 turnovers, 39 points. You give up 40 points on your turnovers, you probably are not going to have an opportunity to win. You're not going to win. And I thought the pace of the game was great, and you shouldn't be able to shoot 56% and then 49% from three and not be in the game. And we were basically not in the game. It doesn't matter what the final score was. We just weren't in the game. I thought the last group that I put in, I thought they played hard and competed the way we should have the whole game. But the rebounding bothered me. Just the defense overall, of pressure on the ball. I don't think they felt us at all. I know we didn't have three of our main guys out there, but, that has nothing to do with competing. We still have to compete with whoever we run out there. Oh, I just thought they played hard and tried to do, the right thing. And I thought defensively they tried to pressure up a little bit, and I thought they did get into the ball. We just talked about, we said, hey, let's go and see if we can win the fourth quarter. I thought they did a really good job with that. Like I said, offensively we can figure it out, but, defensively we got to be much better than what we did. Rebounding-wise, individual defense, just overall, we've always been a really good screen and roll defensive team. Last year one of the top 5 in the league, and I didn't think we did a very good job with that tonight. So it's the first time I think that, in practices or in any other games that we played where we didn't compete at a real high level. And the team that we played out competed.
That's Coach Al Gentry, man, breaking it down, saying you got to compete against no matter who you put out there. And Coach Gentry's right. And that's been the mainstay for these Pelicans, these new Pels 2018 squad. Of course, a couple of guys didn't play. They didn't play Anthony Davis in this one. They DMP'd him, gave him some rest. We know about Jahlil Okafor with his right ankle sprain. We know about Alexis Jenkins still rehabbing from the right quadricep surgery. And Drew Holiday and Etuan Moore both were given rest in this one. So about maybe 3 or 4 of the really good players did not play in this contest for the Pelicans. Nikolai Mirotic got a lot of action, 30 minutes, so did Julius Randle. He had 19 points in this game, Nikolai Mirotic, 19 points in 30 minutes, 7 of 13 from the field, 1 of 6 from downtown, struggled. Julius Randle had a really good game in this one, 23 points through 30 minutes. He was 6 of 10 from the field, 6 rebounds for him and the effort, but he had 5 turnovers. Got to get that under control. Solomon Hill, he did get an extended amount of time at the 3 position, 22 minutes. He was 1 of 3, 1 of 2 from downtown. He had only 3 points and 4 rebounds. Elfrid Payton, 27 minutes of play, 17 points through 27 minutes. He had 8 assists in his game. Didn't turn the ball over, had a couple of turnovers, but actually was pretty solid in this game. Very solid play from Elfrid Payton in this game. And, of course, Ian Clark, he started as well, had 8 points through 16 minutes of play. Off the bench, 17 points from Darius Miller, 24 minutes. He played 6 of 9 shooting, 5 of 6 from downtown. He finished with 17 points. He was hot in this game. 14 points from Troy Williams, who really stepped up. I love his athleticism and dunking the ball. He brings something to this team. Both he and Frank Jackson bring athleticism and will cram this and will dunk on your head type player mentality, which I really will love. The Pelicans' athleticism in terms of those guys to be able to dunk and get up the court. I love what Troy Williams brings bring. He finished the game 14 points, 5 of 9 shooting, and 9 minutes of play. Just 9 minutes, the guy got 14 points. Told you keep an eye out for that man. Other players that were in double figures outside of those, Frank Jackson, he had 21 minutes of playing. This one shot 4 of 6, 1 of 1 from downtown, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 13 points, 5 rebounds, and a couple of assists for Mr. Frank Jackson. As he continues to get in it. Garland Green, in 9 minutes, he was 2 of 5 from the field, 1 of 3 from downtown, had 7 points. In the game, Kenrick Williams finished the game with 4 points as well. So I'm looking at a lot of the things dealing with the Pelicans, and like we're saying, this might have been a different game if Anthony Davis played, but of course, the point of the game is sometimes you might not have all of your players, so you have to win with who you have to win with. Now, Miami is not an incredibly loaded team, and they set a lot of their players too. Hassan Whiteside, Goran Dragic, Dwayne Wade, most of those guys, Deion Waiters, those guys were DNP'd in the game. Some of those guys were hurt, but they played a lot of backup guys in this one. The Pelicans should have got this game. Richardson finished the game with 25 points. Bam Adebayo had 26 points in this game. The high flyer Jones, he had 18 and some really fierce killer dunks to electrify the crowd. And that's the type of stuff I wish the Pelicans would focus on, getting a high flyer slasher guy that could shoot the three. Maybe we have found that Troy Williams. We definitely have that in Frank Jackson. So love what the Pelicans, some of those players are doing, what those players are representing. But like I said, it's not too hard to figure out why the Pelicans lost this game. Only thing you have to do is key in the fact that they had 24 haphazard turnovers and allowing the team to basically score at will. When you look at what they did on the defensive side of the ball, you can't play like that. You heard what Coach Gentry said. Obviously, they got to clean that up. The defense is just not where it's supposed to be. And you would like to see some improvement because, what is this, the 4th game of the preseason? And you've had enough time to kind of have 3 or 4 other games where you need to kind of iron out the wrinkles. But you're not going to beat a team if you turn the ball over 24 times. And I keep saying the same thing. You got to be able to do 2 things. You can't turn the ball over like this. You can't get out rebounded. You can't get beat in points in the paint if you're a Pelicans. And most of the time, your game is inside out. Now, I know they can shoot the 3, but when you got Anthony Davis, the second best player in the NBA, I say, then you're going to have an inside out game. Even though AD shoots the 3, he is a fierce player on the interior. Plus you have Anthony Davis playing at the 5, so it's inside out. You get out rebounded on offensive end 16-4, that's not going to help you. Then when you get to the free throw line 33 times, you hit 24 of them for about 73%. So free throws, points in the paint, assists, in which they did win the assist war, but it didn't make a difference because you had 24 turnovers that allowed the team to allow Miami to score a ridiculous 39 points off of your 24 turnovers. That's hard. That's horrendous. But anyway, that's the game. 140-128. The Pelicans go down the Flames. 0-4 at this point. When we come back on the other side of the break, we'll get into the next game, the first home game as they face off with the Toronto Raptors, and we'll break that down on the side of the break. You listen to the Pelican post-game report on the PRO Media Network. Stay with us.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000, celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast and customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registers and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
What's up, Sports World? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share, and help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.
You're listening to the Pelicans Post-Game Report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're now listening to the Pelican Post-Game Report on the PRO Media Network. First segment, we recap the Pelicans' loss to the Miami Heat. This time around, the Pelicans get their first home court game of the preseason. First and only, by the way. They face off against the Toronto Raptors in this one. Now, Anthony Davis and the rest of the guys did play in this game. The Pelicans continued to kind of at least get that, wanting to get that first win of the season, the preseason that is. Now, of course, the Raptors came into this game. They rested a lot of the big wigs. Kyle Lowry was given rest. Valanciunas was given rest. So with Kawhi Leonard, he was also arrested. Serge Ibaka. So a lot of the core pieces of the Raptors wasn't in this game. The Pelicans, however, did play their top pieces. You know, Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday, those guys who rested the previous game. In the Miami game, of course, they were rested in that one. They played extended minutes in this game. 31 minutes for Anthony Davis in this matchup. But before we get into the individual statistics of this match, let's go ahead and look at some of the game full team statistics as you were. If you look at it, the Pelicans against the Raptors in this one, they shot 47%, but Raptors were 53%, and that's key before we get into anything. It is difficult to beat a team that is shooting from the field 53%. If you're shooting over 50% from the field and over 40% from the three-point line, you're going to struggle to beat a team like that. You know, they just have the touch. And a three-point percentage, they shot 44% from the three-point line, 53% from the field. The Pelicans were 47% from the field and 30% from the three-point line. Total turnovers, the Pelicans, once again, 17 turnovers in this one. The Raptors a little bit more disciplined, only 12. The Pelicans, however, did out-rebound the Raptors 51-40 in this matchup. Of course, offensive rebounds, just like the Miami game, where Miami had a ridiculous amount of offensive rebounds, the Raptors continued to trend. They had 17 offensive rebounds in this game. Pelicans only 6. That's key. The Pelicans did out-rebound them by 11. Offensive rebounds usually key to put back, stick back points, second chance points, if you were. And the Pelicans definitely have to do a better job of that, but that's because of the system. If you notice how the Pelicans' pace of play is, once the ball is shot, one guy, you get one shot and you're done, and then you beat the other guy off the field. I do not agree with that philosophy. I think at least you have a guy, like when the ball is shot, there should be a rebounder underneath the hoop to try to get an offensive rebound. Most of the cases, you don't see that. You see one shot and then they break into the other end to try to play defense. I think that's a flaw in the system that should be corrected, but that's just my point. You basically kind of force your offense to convert first shots into points, and that's totally unrealistic. But that's just me. Like I said, if you agree, then let me know in the comment section. You say, well, Q, you're absolutely right. And if you disagree as well. But that's the issue. If you look at the rest of the statistics, the Pelicans did have more assists, 31-27, which they do move the ball around because of pace of play. They had 8 steals versus 9 of the Raptors. Pelicans had 7 blocks and, of course, 17 turnovers, which I told you before, which they gave up 14 points off of 17 turnovers. The Raptors had 12 and gave up 14 points as well. 21-18 on a fast break. Raptors win that battle. And the points in the paint, once again, the Pelicans, they've lost all of their points in the paint battles through this preseason, 70-66 on this game. And like I keep telling you, if you lose in the point in the, it's a reason why they're not winning these games. High turnovers, losing the points in the paint battle with these teams, and the fact that you look at the rebounds, the fact they're getting out rebounded offensively. This game 17-6, and a lot of that's easy putback points, stick back points, second chance points, as you were. Now, before we get into the individual statistics, let's see what Coach Gentry had to say about his team performance against the Raptors. Here's Coach Gentry.
We definitely got to get better defensively, and I'm a little bit disappointed because I thought we did a good job in the first 2 games, and we've just struggled defensively since then. We got to have more of a presence on the ball, and then we got to do a better job. We were one of the top screen and roll defensive teams, and that seemed to be the one thing that's been hurting us. And then we got to do a better job of guarding our own guys. Offensively we're fine. You can't score 120 night at 2 straight nights and then lose by double figures. It just doesn't make sense in our league. So we've got to get better defensively. The turnover thing tonight was a lot better. I mean, even if we're really, really good with them, we're going to turn it over 12 to 15 times. So, we had 17 tonight. So I thought we did a much better job of managing that. And then even in the first half, they only had 3 points off our turnovers because I thought we did it trying to do the right thing, making the right plays. So we had court balance. So they didn't have the ability to run out. And most of them weren't live. They were not live turnovers. So they didn't have the chance to run out. But, it's concerning, that, you play 2 straight games and, give up over 130 points in both the games. So it's very concerning. We've got to, make sure that we the next 4 or 5 days in practice, we got to really zero in and concentrate on that, and a little bit our transition defense, but more so than anything, we got to do a much better job of just guarding the ball and keeping it in front of us and doing a good job in our screen and roll defense. Well, we just hadn't done a good job of containing the ball, and if you're going to get broken down and the ball's going to get into the paint, then all kind of bad things are going to happen. You got to be able to contain the ball, and you got to be able to do it in screen and roll defense, and we just have not done that. The last 2 games especially, I thought we did a pretty good job with it in the first one.
It's Coach Al Gentry, man, basically telling you the truth. Very somber because obviously if you're a head coach, you want to make sure your team win at least 1 or 2 of these preseason games just to get the feel of a win. But to go out of the preseason 0-5, is not a comfortable feeling. Going into the preseason and your first battle is arguably the second best team in the Western Conference, the Houston Rockets. So the Pelicans in this one against the Raptors, 134-119, didn't end pretty well for them, as you heard Coach Gentry talk about it. But the top scorers, Andy Davis did play. He had 31 minutes, 36 points in the game in 31 minutes, 13 of 18 from the field, 2 of 3 from the three-point line, 8 of 13 from the free throw line. He had 10 rebounds, actually 15 rebounds in this game for AD, 4 blocks. So AD was AD as usual. Drew Holiday, his complimentary piece was 14 points, 6 of 11 shooting. He was 0 for 3 from downtown in 29 minutes. He did have 8 assists and 6 rebounds, Drew Holiday. So he stepped up big. Nikolai Mirotic, another piece with Anthony Davis, 15 points in 25 minutes, 6 of 13 from the field, 3 of 7 from downtown in this game for Nikolai Mirotic. Then, of course, there was E'Twaun Moore, who stepped up in 25 minutes of play. He was 5 of 8 shooting from the field, 1 of 3 from downtown. He had 12 points in the affair. And Elfrid Payton kind of wasn't, the last game against the Miami, that's his best preseason performance. This game, not so much. He had 6 points in 26 minutes, 2 of 6 from the field, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He had 7 assists in the game, so 6 points, 7 assists in 26 minutes. Got to get that up, Elfrid. You got to do better than that, brother. We expect at least 10 or 12 points a game from Elfrid Payton, perhaps 7 or 8 assists, perhaps from Elfrid Payton. But off the bench, Julius Randle came off the bench for the Pelicans. 25 minutes for him, 8 of 17 from the field, 1 of 3 from downtown, 3 of 6 from the free throw line. He finished with 20 points and 11 rebounds off the bench for him. Then other Pelican scorers, too minimal to even mention, to be honest with you. Only Outside of Frank Jackson, who played 8 minutes and scored 8 points, not anybody else really did too much. Darius Miller struggled again. Of course, he shot the ball really good against the Heat. Then that's Darius Miller for you. Up and down. This game, he only had 2 points. He was 1 of 8 shooting in 24 minutes. And that's the definition of an up and down shooter, which is that's just what Darius Miller is. Now, outside of that, Solomon Hill played 15 minutes, a minuscule 2 points in this game. Through 15 minutes, Solomon Hill continues to show you that he is Solomon Hill and he needs to go. They'll probably work out a trade to get him out of here. That's what Scott Kutchner from The Advocate, the beat writer, spoke about on the previous show, that he's the guy at the top of the trade list because of contract. Jared Jack, in his final game with the Pelicans, he finished with just 2 points in 8 minutes, 0 of 2 shooting from the field for the veteran point guard Jared Jack. Pelicans, very easy breakdown on this one, people. You know, if you're a Pelican fan, you looked at the statistics, you heard Coach Gentry talk about the turnovers, you heard Coach Gentry talk about the pace of play and where his turnover threshold is. Remember what I said? I said it was maybe 15, 16 years. Coach Gentry said 17 because of pace of play. Realistically speaking, the team has to be disciplined. He talked about live ball turnovers, which you turn the ball over and then they have a free run up the other end and you can't do nothing. It becomes a swing of play. It becomes a point swing that builds momentum towards the other team. It don't make any difference if you're being beaten into the points in the paint and you're turning the ball over at the pace that they are and you're not shooting the ball well. Ultimately, you're going to end up losing this game. That's what pretty much happened for Coach Al Gentry in this one. As a team, the defense needs to really step up, man. I mean, this is the defense from these games. I had maybe 1 or 2 games that I've seen this preseason where you could see the effort was there. Of course, that would change when the big guys, the more guys like Anthony Davis and all those guys get more time on the floor. You can see that that will adjust against some of the better teams. But I mean, these are things that you're looking at. The Pelicans defense is something that needs to be looked at. I mean, the pace of play. If you're going to be that level of pace in the NBA, you got to be disciplined. You can't turn the ball over like that. And you're going to have to tweak or adjust your offensive philosophy where you have 1 or 2 guys that are there to catch, stick back, or the second, try to get offensive rebounds. The Alvin Gentry system, if you notice, and I've watched enough Pelicans games to understand this, that when the guy shoots the ball, once he shoots the ball, the Pelicans most of the times get only 1 chance to score a bucket. That's ridiculous. You should at least have 2 guys there protecting, trying to at least get the offensive rebound if it misses. But that's not the case. Those guys are breaking up the field trying to play defense. That's just like, to me, I don't get that. But anyway, that'll do it for the Pelicans' final game of the preseason as they faced down and lost 134-119 to the Toronto Raptors. On the other side of the break, we'll cover the Pelicans news and notes and break down the cut, and then we'll give you a look at the 2018 squad that'll be preparing for the 17th to take on the Houston Rockets. We'll cover that on the side of the break. You're listening to the Pelican Post-Game Report. Stay with us.
You're listening to the Pelicans Post-Game Report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
Tea is your escape. It's your opportunity to create a moment for stillness, for reflection, for yourself. It's your connection to a world of senses, flavors both exotic and familiar, energizing and relaxing. It's your retreat from an increasingly turbulent world. It's the perfect paradox of simplicity and complexity. Teabox.com connects tea to people, uniting the richest flavors of the finest teas with the curious, the cultivated, and the adventurous all over the world. The freshest tea you've ever tasted, from crop to cup. There's simply no simpler way to experience the wonderful complexity of tea. Teabox, packing up the freshness. Tea thrives on freshness, and so do they. Teabox temperature and humidity control facility ensure that tea is maintained. The teas themselves go into oblique bags with aluminum layers that protect them from excess moisture and light. With Teabox, shopping for fresh, loose leaf tea is easy because you make an informed purchase. You know exactly where your tea is coming from. So for the freshest teas in the world, check out Teabox.com. That's right, Teabox.com. Check the link in the description section below. Go to newfrog.com for all of your electronic gadget needs. Fast becoming #1 online seller of cell phone and accessories, consumer electronics, automobiles and motorcycles, home and garden items, 5D diamond painting crafts, electrical and tool supplies, computer and networking supplies, lights and lighting supplies, sports and travel items, toys and hobby supplies, apparel and accessory, mother and kid items, health and beauty items, and much, much more. Newfrog.com has up to 70% off on some products. And you can check out their weekly promotions for all the best deals. Remember, when thinking online electronics and gadgets, think Newfrog. Newfrog.com. Check the link in the description section below.
There's a reason he's always Employee of the Month. And why no shirt and no shoes is no problem. There's a lot of reasons to be a fan, but only NBAstore.com has all the gear.
You're listening to the Pelicans post-game report on the Pro Media Network for all things Pelicans.
That's right. For all things Pelicans, we are the Pelican post-game report, and we are back. We're going to break down in this segment, of course, we covered the final 2 preseason games of the Pelicans schedule. Now, of course, on this month, coming into it, October the 17th, the Pelicans open up against the Houston Rockets. Arguably, I ain't gonna say arguably, they are the second best team in the Western Conference with some killer pieces. And of course, Chris Paul was added last year along with James. Previous couple of years, they brought James Harden in. He was a team, gave him a big $200 million contract, something like that. Last year, they were able to trade for Chris Paul, bring him in there, and they came within one game of possibly knocking off Golden State. It went to 7. Chris Paul got injured, of course, and the rest is history. Well, this offseason, they added Carmelo Anthony to come in, and he's been looking wonderful, in the preseason for the Rockets. It's going to be a very tough contest for the Pelicans to pull out, by the way, but because this team has champ thoughts. Every year they've added a Hall of Fame piece, and Harden's going to be Hall of Fame. We know Chris Paul is Hall of Fame. And, of course, Carmelo Anthony, when it's all said and done, he might not have any rings, but he's going to have an opportunity to be in the Hall of Fame, no doubt about it. You can't take that away from him. But getting back to the Pelicans, we're not going to preview the Houston game in this one. That'll be a different show when we break down the Pelicans' first regular season matchup with the Houston Rockets, so be looking out for that one. But let's get into some Pelican news and notes for this show. Of course, the Pelicans completed the 2018-2019 preseason 0-5. That's not a good feeling by any stretch of the imagination. I know how you feel, Pelican fandom. Keep your heads held up high because I've seen a lot of positive stuff, a lot of negative, but a lot of positive going into the season. So let's get into some of these Pelican news and notes to break down. Of course, the Pelicans, to get their roster down to where they needed to be, they ultimately had to make some cuts. Now, they did cut a few people you probably heard of, some you didn't. Darius Morris, the point guard, young point guard that's been there. They released him as well. They released Brandon McCoy, the big center from Texas. Now, McCoy was an interesting prospect. I really liked McCoy. 7 foot, he can move pretty good, and I'm always a fan to have a 7-footer off the bench. A young 7-footer that can play for you. Maybe you could even put him in the 4 when you need him. He could play a little 5 to kind of give AD some rest, and even have packages if you need it to kind of, when Julius Randle comes off the floor, you can move Anthony Davis to 4, bring in 5, bring in a guy who could play the 5 and let AD kind of play that 4 position, to kind of make it light on him. Now, that's the only of the cuts I'm kind of upset. They did also release Garland Green, the brother of Gerald Green. Trayvon Blewett, of course, did make the team. We're going to go over the 2018 squad person by person. Jared Jack didn't make the cut. Now, this was, I ain't going to say surprising, but I anticipated Jared Jack to possibly make the team. You know what I'm saying? Because the team was looking to have a veteran point guard, not a guy that can play the point guard who's really an off guard like Ian Clark or Etwine Moore, but a guy that specializes in the point guard position, a veteran that has seen it all. I thought Jared Jack would have made the team. That's just my thoughts on it. I thought he would have made a team. He'd be a pretty good piece to come off the bench to score for you. He plays some good defense. He can move, circulate the ball. He can hit a wide open 3-point shot like it's nothing. The guy is a pretty decent veteran point guard. But to cut him, that's really, really interesting, because that must mean that they've seen enough of Frank Jackson and say, well, he's healthy and we're going to just put our faith to Frank Jackson. So both Darius Morris, Jared Jack cut, And, of course, Garland Green, the brother of Gerald Green, didn't show enough for the Pelicans to keep him on. Actually, I thought he did a lot better job, Garland Green did, than Kenrick Williams. But, hey, that's what they decided to do with it. And, of course, I would have liked to keep Brandon McCoy, perhaps get rid of Alexis Jinka, which you're holding on for him for, but I possibly trade him. But Brandon McCoy, hopefully they bring him back or keep him to kind of put him, stash him somewhere on the it's just, the Pelicans could use another big like that. But anyway, let's get into the Pelicans 2018 squad. Of course, the Pels 2018-2019 squad is going to look like this. Of course, the Pelicans point guard started off as Elfrid Payton. We know about that. Of course, when they signed Elfrid Payton, they were signing him to be a backup because they anticipated re-signing Rajon Rondo, who ultimately balked to go to the Lakers to play with LeBron James. Fair enough. But Elfrid Payton ended up being the guy that ultimately wound up replacing Rondo. And it's weird because Elfrid Payton has always, since he was in college, was compared to Rajon Rondo. Since this guy came out of college, he's always been compared to Rajon Rondo. That's been who they've stuck to, and it's kind of strange that the Pelicans replaced him with a guy who's always been compared to Rondo. So he is at the 1. 2 is, of course, Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday looked really good in the preseason at times. He continues to kind of struggle on his 3-point shot, needs to get better there. His defense is great as ever. He will be at the 2 position. And if he needs to keep that all-star level, he played after the All-Star game, right around that time coming into the playoffs, he played on a whole nother level. He ascended his game from regular Jrue Holiday, who's good, to all-pro or all-star level Jrue Holiday. If he had played like that during the first half of the season, he most certainly would have made the All-Star game. But this time around, we're looking at him. He could have that all-star season like he did when he played for Philadelphia. I think last year was his best season. It was half the season ever. But if he can maintain that level of play, the Pelicans are going to be difficult for anybody to deal with. At the 3 position is still a question, is enigma. Like I told you from previous shows, if you have any doubts, I would say follow the money. Solomon Hill, they were giving him more minutes the last couple of games. He looked like crap. The money, the man makes $12 million a season. You won't sit a guy who at the wing position making $12 million. You won't put him on the bench for Troy Williams, who's making $2 million or something like that. It's just not going to happen. They got to justify the money. Solomon Hill is going to get the call at the 3 position, so don't be surprised when you see him out there against the Rockets. Solomon Hill will be your 3 once again until they trade him. Number 4, of course, is Julius Randle, who came over from the Lakers on a 2-year deal with the Pels. Of course, the second year is an player option. He'll be at the 4. And Anthony Davis, they talked him at playing to the 5. Very interesting because on the previous show, we played the interview showing you that Anthony Davis was like, okay, we got Julius here. Okay, we're going to be doing this. Okay, I'm going to be playing more of the 5. So it's interesting to hear him say that like nobody didn't have a conversation with AD. Listen, we're going to bring Julius in. We're going to play you at the 5. You see what I'm saying? He had to kind of figure that out once the transition happened. That's interesting. Because if Anthony Davis, if I was the head coach and AD was on my team, I would go to AD and say, AD, listen, we bringing Julius in, so you might have to play more of the 5. And AD don't really, at one point, didn't want to play the 5 because he won't be matched up with brutes like Steven Adams and Rudy Gobert, people like those guys. He have difficulty with true centers, but he's better than 98% of the centers, maybe 98% of the centers at the 5 position anyway. So, he's going to outduel them most points. But from my understanding and what Scott Kushner from the insider said, what AD doesn't have a problem with it. Well, there you go. Now, off the bench, this would be interesting. And when that's the top 5 starters, of course, off the bench, you can pick it. Frank Jackson, obviously, with Jared Jack out of here, he'll be the first point guard off the bench. Off guard, to me, I would say E'Twaun Moore would be the first off guard or 2 off the bench. He'll go right back to his normal position after playing last year at the 3, the wing position, which to me, he wanted that 3 guard look, but E'Twaun goes back to his natural position, which I'm so happy for. Of course, the 3 off the bench, I say Troy Williams or Darius Miller. He fit those guys in there. They're off. Then you have, of course, at the 4, you got Sheik Diallo is still there. But I think the 4 will probably be Nikolai Mirotic. Sheik Diallo's minutes will kind of be reduced. I agree to that. Nikolai Mirotic will come off the bench as a 4, not a 3, but a 4 to kind of replace Julius Randle in certain sections and whatever. But like Coach told you, that he wants to have Nikolai Mirotic, Anthony Davis, Julius Randle, and Drew Holiday on the floor as much as he can. However, he's going to fit that. So some rotations you'll see Nikolai come off and play the 3, which I really would love that. But a lot of those bench guys are going to have to step up and cover that 3 position if that happens. Now, Sheik Diallo is there. You have Darius Miller, who will be coming off the bench. You also have Ian Clark there as a part of the team. He'll be providing depth. Then there's also Kenrick Williams, who made the team. I was surprised by that because I thought Garland Green would have beat him out. But Kenrick Williams is on the team, and I would say probably because of his defense and his size. We talked about Troy Williams and his athletic ability. Jaleel Okafor will make the team, even though he has another week or so before his injury to come back from his injuries with his sprained ankle. Then, of course, Alexis Jenka, who hasn't played a full NBA season, and then he's coming into another season. He had to have multiple surgeries. He's still not ready to go. I don't know when Alexis Jenka is going to be ready, and I still don't understand what his role is going to be with this team. So I don't know. So there you go. We're going to run them down in order before we get out of here. Alexis Jenka, Trayvon Blewett, Ian Clark, Anthony Davis, Sheik Diallo, Solomon Hill, Drew Holiday, Frank Jackson, Darius Miller, Nikolai Mirotic, Etwine Moore, Jaleel Okafor, Elfrid Payton, Julius Randle, Kenrick Williams, and Troy Williams. This is your 2018-2019 New Orleans Pelicans squad getting ready to open the season. Now, did they solve the wing position? You tell me. Did they solve the wing position? I keep telling y'all the same old things. 2018, the wing position was a serious thing. It's 2 key issues the Pelicans were looking at fixing. The backup point guard position behind Elfrid Payton, who's going to be the guy come off the bench to keep the pace of play. And, of course, the wing position for the Pelicans, who they haven't solved since Trevor Ariza was here. And that was some time ago. Now we have Solomon Hill, who makes $12 million a year. That's my bet. You tell me any difference, or Q, you crazy. I'm telling you, I'm going where the money is. They're not going to sit Solomon Hill on the bench, and he's making $12 million to play Troy Williams, even though that would be a better move to me to play Troy Williams, because Troy Williams fits this style of system. He is athletic. He'll dunk on your head. He shoot the ball 29-30% three-point shooter, 43% field goal shooter. Not bad, Troy Williams. I like his work ethic. He fits well at that 3 position, but the money is the issue. The money is the issue, and as that result, that's why I say I'll put it on Solomon Hill. But you still have. What's really interesting is that the roster's lineup shows Trayvon Blewett at a guard, not forward. He's guard/4. So of course, they see him as a guard forward. Trayvon Blewett needs to work on his defensive skills, but he can shoot. He's probably the purest shooter. I ain't gonna say he's better than Nikolai Mirotic or Darius Miller, but for this team to really go far into the playoffs or into the season series, Mirotic and Miller definitely have to step their game up and do some things. But anyway, that'll do it for the show. Thank y'all for following us today on the Pelican Post Game Report. As always, if you enjoyed the show, please feel free to go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/the Media Network. And also join our social media network. All the links are in the description section below. And as always, from Pelican Post Game Report staff and myself, thank you for chiming in. Peace.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
What's up, sports world? It's Big Q talking at you from the PRO Media Network, letting you know that we're attempting to make things a lot simpler on our listeners and viewers of our mini podcast. So as a result, we're leasing down a lot of our shows to have their own channels for your convenience. Starting soon, shows like Ring King Boxing, LSU's Tough Tiger Talk, the Pelican Post Game Report will all have their own individual YouTube channels. So thank you for working with us during this process. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your donations and support for our platform as we continue to improve moving forward. Peace.
Vapor DNA is the absolute premier online vape store, offering an industry-leading selection of e-cigarettes, e-liquids, and accessories. Our friendly and knowledgeable customer service team is always ready to provide the best customer service experience to ensure you find what you're looking for. We guarantee our vaping gear shop products to be 100% genuine and the lowest price. We are so confident in our selection and our customer service. We will offer our customers a 45-day refund policy. That's right, a 45-day refund policy. We are proud of this offer for 3 simple reasons: quality, selection, and price. And that is the reason you should choose Vapor DNA for all your vaping needs. That's www.vapordna.com. Again, that's www.vapordna.com.
What's up, sports world? This Big Q from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Talking to you about the website, theposhlifestyle.com. That's right, poshlifestyle.com. A great website where you can get great products at great prices. They sell organic herbs, vitamins, supplements, water filters for your home, EMF and cell phone radiation protection, healing magnetics and healing crystals, personal protection devices like cell phones, stun guns, and mace sprays, organic deodorants, shampoos, soaps, toothpaste, and more. They also sell 10A grade Brazilian hair. 10A music is available now. All kind of the latest downloadable mixtapes. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to theposhlifestyle.com. That's the Posh Lifestyle, life spelled with a Y, LYFD style.com. Put in the Sports Coma for the 10% discount on your purchase. It's a win-win. So get your mind and body right with the Posh Lifestyle.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.